So, hey guys, Chauzu here. We're moving on to the next Pre-Anni batch legend, 10th anniversary coming up, and it's a Kid and Killer legend. Something we've been waiting for, but I feel like this timing is very strange, like nobody, I feel like, wanted a new Kid and Killer at this point in time, but here we are. They are driven, which is expected. The more weird one is Powerhouse. And the only explanation I can see for Powerhouse is, I guess, Killer's buff, but also the fact that this makes them work with Vegapunk, which if you have an int Powerhouse and 6 int units, you turn the Powerhouse into Cerebral, so this Kid and Killer can actually be a Cerebral on a Vegapunk team. Still, nothing I recommend. I should make a video about that at some point, because it's a very strange interaction, I'd say, but yeah. Anyway, let's focus on Kid and Killer here. And for Law and Beppo, I forgot to talk about PvP, mostly because their kits were so unremarkable. We'll see if I remember here. I think their kits are unremarkable as well in PvP. So yeah. Kid and Kid has the special limit potential ability, Slot Bind, and Final Tap. It's a weird Final Tap. In my first read-through, I didn't understand how it works. Let's see if I understand better this time. Might be one of those cases where we actually need to try the unit to understand it. But yeah. Kid and Killer also a duo unit, of course. Kid is int and Killer is dex. So yeah, special has a stronger effect in duo form, which you can get from the super swap. We don't know how good the normal special is when I record this. You do 200 times charge attack and non-type damage to all enemies. So that's a pretty good, some decent damage. It reduces crew's special charge time by 2 turns, which is a very strong mechanic. Reduces all enemies' damage reduction by 7 turns. Killer units in general get damage reduction. It's become his thing, I guess. If crew has color affinity when special is launched, you instead get an increased chain growth rate for dex, int, and driven for 2 turns. So this is like a bonus if you have color affinity. It's not the intended part of the kit. And the annoying thing with this is that Law and Beppo and Kid and Killer, their entire kits, do 3-turn buffs. The only one that isn't 3-turn is that increased chain growth rate. It is always 2 turns. That's important to keep in mind. You get a chain boundary based on how many status effects is applied on enemy when special is launched. So Law and Beppo was about how many buffs do you have on your team, but Law and Kid and Killer is more like Moria Pro, not Toffee Sugar. They look at how many debuffs have you applied to the enemy. And this will change the chain boundary. It starts at 2.5, maxes out at 3.25. I think this is very strange personally. Like 3.25 is a good chain boundary number, but it's not like an exceptional one. Like, at least Law and Beppo gets a pretty high number for their potential base attack boost, but here you have to do a lot of busy work just to get a pretty good chain boundary instead of getting an exceptional chain boundaries. I think that's very unfortunate. And starting out at 2.5 is very much on the low end. And it's also strange that it says 2.5 for 0.2, then 2.5 for 3 to 5. I presume they mean 2.75 for the second one, otherwise it makes no sense, but yeah. Luckily for chain boundary, like even a 2.5 chain boundary is perfectly usable, but of course a 2 chain boundary for a legend does feel very cheap. After that, boost dex, int, and driven carriage color affinity for 2.5 times for 2 turns. Then you extend the color affinity and chain boundary, even this unit. So the chain boundary and color affinity becomes 3 turns in practice. You also buff the color affinity by plus 0.3, so basically a 2.8 times color affinity, which is perfectly fine. And you also, let's see, this special is very long, it continues here. And you also increase the effect of the chain boundary by plus 0.25, so guaranteed 2.75 times at lowest, so it's fine, it's fine. So yeah, 3-turn color affinity, 3-turn chain boundary, very reliable, and I like it. And you also have the effect, of course, if you get another chain boundary color affinity, you can extend that as well, but in reality, this is the one you want to use it for most of the time. Captain ability reduces cruise. Let's take all of it at once here, I think, if we can. I'll change it more later. So let's start with the left one. -1 CD, dex int driven 1.3 times HP, 5.5 times attack, 6 times attack if you have tandem, bomb, or super bomb orb. Quick slots become bomb orbs, and you have a higher chance of getting quick orbs. Makes bomb, super bomb slots have matching slot effects. You can't take damage from super bomb orbs. And if you tap on this character with a tandem bomb or super bomb slot, you also apply the effect of end of turn damage for 3 turns, which is really, really good. This means this captain can also ignore resilience, unless there's a barrier or something. And you also change crew's attack multiplier of tandem bomb, super bomb slots to 2.5 times. For 1 turn. So you get a lot of value from getting tandem bombs, super bomb, like the usual with not taking damage, being favorable, but getting a free resilience is a good thing. And it's also cool you can get a higher value. My main issue with this captain ability is that there is no effect that, what should I say? No other utility other than the end of turn damage. I would have liked if they resisted special bind or something like that, but there's nothing, and historically that means that you don't have a lot of viability as a captain. So yeah, this will mostly be a sub unless you really want to try and set up that end of turn damage, which is interesting, of course. Moving on. Bomb, super bomb slots have matching slot effects, and you resist special readers by 2 turns, which is good. One thing is that the captain doesn't let Kid and Killer resist special reavers themselves, so this means you can only counter special reavers as a sub. But I think it's pretty clear they want Kid and Killer to be a sub, like they're not doing a lot of effort to make you want to use them as a captain mainly. Reduces CD by 1 turn at start of crew's next turn after taking damage. That's a nice extra potential way of getting some CD. I dig it. I would have preferred if it was just everybody gets -1 CD turn 1, but like any ability like this is useful to have, in my opinion. Swap. This is a very good swap. You reduces damage threshold by 1 turn. Dex int driven gets a 1.5 times orb boost for 1 turn, which can be overwritten. You change your own slot and adjacent slots, including block, to bomb slots. That's a super good swap. Anytime you swap, you can remove 4 bomb orbs if you use Kid and Killer as a sub in the middle row. And like getting bomb is fine since you make them matching with the swap as well. And you also apply some int and dex resistance as a nice bonus. So yeah, orb boost and block orb manip. And it's not just block orbs, it's any orbs. And you get them to matching. Yeah, I dig it. It's a very cool concept, I'd say. Super Swap, even better. You reduce damage threshold by 3 turns, boost dex, int, and driven characters or boost by 2 times for 1 turn, which can be overwritten, and of course, you also buff or boost by plus 0.25, including this or boost is in reality at 2.25 times or boost. You change crew's slots, including block, to bomb, and makes crew's bomb, super bomb slots have matching slot effects for 1 turn. You apply minus 30% int and dex resistance to all enemies for 1 turn, and you become Kid and Killer for 3 turns. It's fine. My main issue is that I don't feel like it's buffed enough from the normal swap. Like, you get 6 matching orbs instead of 4 with the swap, which is cool. But other than that, it's not a lot extra. I also want to add that the int and dex resistance you add to the enemy works for Kid and Killer's apply effects to the enemy thing. So that will help them get a higher chain boundary as well. Yeah. Finally, we have the final tab. Final battle, you need a tandem bomb or super bomb on the unit. And let me move this one so you can see it. Further boost the chain multiplier of the final tap by 1.75 times. A classic one, a bit lower than usual though. Allows crew's type effect boost effect to be further increased up to 2 times. And further increases the boost effect by plus 0.4. And yeah, like I get that you can further buff your color affinity. Like the way I think they mean it works like this, because Kid and Killer does a 2.5 times color affinity. Then they increase it by plus 0.3, so you have a 2.8 color affinity, that's the first increase. Then this lets it increase it a second time, and it adds plus 0.4. I was a bit confused, but now it makes sense. So it means you get a 3.2 times color affinity. It honestly doesn't make up for having a lower chain multiplier increase on final tap than usual. Like, some units gets 2.25 times extra chain. That's definitely more valuable than getting a bit more color affinity. So, like, it's an interesting mechanic, but yeah, I think it's not worth it in practice considering what it could get instead. I guess we can look quickly at what they do in PvP. Not sure I'll read everything, but you guys can pause and take a look if you want. Like, I don't think that's a very good PvP special personally. The ability. Oops. HP up level 5, speed up level 5, def up level 2. Like, why just level 2? That just screws them over. It's basically a powerhouse counter, but powerhouse is not that great in PvP right now. In Grand Party, I've seen people say they kind of like the burst. Not sure if I agree. Like, how do you get it? You take a lot of damage. Like, it's cool like you use it 4 times and you can delay enemies, but I don't think delaying enemies is worth it to sacrifice a leader for. And yeah, that's the extra stats you get in PvP. Like I said, I don't think you will use this unit in PvP, and same goes for Law and Beppo. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.